Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'm awake. It really can't be helped. Now, last night was an interesting time for me. I went to bed very early. Hi, Acacia. How you doing? I slept sweaty. I sweat out a lot of toxins and so forth last night. And I slept mad. I had angry dreams. I woke up mad, went back to sleep mad. I had a weird dream about my parents. Well, what I was thinking about last night, Acacia, is the 12 days of Christmas, which is unrelated to why I was mad. Why am I mad? I don't know. Just a cycle of emotions, you know? Yeah, maybe I do want to hit a pinata. Filled with soup. Hot soup. Boiling hot soup. I want to hit a pinata filled with boiling hot soup. Why was I mad? I don't know. Lots of things potentially to be mad at, I suppose. But I don't think it has anything to do with real things in the world to be mad about. It probably has more to do with my dopamine levels than anything else. But did you know, Acacia, that on the first six of the seven, of the first 6 out of 7 of the 12 days of Christmas, your true love will give to you birds? I didn't realize this until yesterday. That 6 of the first 7 gifts your true love gives to you are birds. Like, what in the world makes my true love think that I want so many birds? A partridge, 2 turtle doves, 3 calling birds, 4 French hens, 6 swans a swimming, 7 geese a laying. Am I a poultry farmer? I don't want that many birds. I don't want any birds for Christmas. Can you imagine opening the gift on your 4th day and being like, oh, more birds? Like, who wants that many birds? And what they don't tell you is that they try to trick you. If those rings were made out of gold, they'd be called gold rings, not golden rings. Like, I cook my potatoes golden brown, right? But there's no gold in them. They're just fake gold rings and a bunch of birds for Christmas. That sounds like my true love doesn't know me very well. Well, and here's the thing about pears, Acacia, as well. You get a pear tree, but there's no indication whatsoever that there are actually any pears on it. The only thing that we know for sure is in the pear tree is a partridge. Like, one thing that I was lying in bed being mad about this morning. And I think I've got plenty good cause to be mad at this too. Is it's this category of people who insists I must be wrong for the very strange reason that I say I'm right. This used to somewhat baffle me. Like, how can you go about saying I'm wrong and your justification for it is that I say I'm right? Without addressing anything that I actually say. Well, it used to baffle me. Now I understand a little bit better, but it still makes me mad. It's like, such people, they think that correctness is an ego thing, not a reality thing. You want to go outside, computer? You can go outside. Here you go. Capillo. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure that line of anger, so to speak, really stems from Corey's recent attack on me. Well, if I had to have any of those birds, I guess I'd take the two turtle doves. Because at least they're slow like turtles. Anyway, you know, Corey signal messaged me the other day. I just launched this full scale attack on Eric, you know, predicated on nothing. Accusing me of making weak arguments against Jordan Peterson. It's like, dude, you are not qualified to establish the strength of arguments. Whereas I am uniquely well qualified to establish that. For him, he's envisioning it as an ego thing. That I say I'm correct because it's important to my ego. Dirtle tubs. Dirtle tubs. Two dirtle tubs. They're like white trash turtle doves. Dirtle tubs. Hi, Boba Fett. Like, anybody who knows me at all well gets that I don't want to be arguing with people. I don't want to be insisting I'm right about things. I mean, lots of people who watch me would be like, but Eric, you love insisting you're right about things. No, I don't. I am right about things. I hate the fact that people won't evaluate my correctness on its merits. The last thing I want to do is have to tell people I'm right. They should be able to figure that out for themselves. So that was one thing I was mad about. I was mad at my dad last night too. I had some mad dreams about my dad. In this dream, he was making statements about I don't even know what. Like, and I was like, hold on a second. And then he asked me a question, and I started to answer it, and he just like said something else. I ignored my answer to the question. I said, "Do you want me to answer your fucking question? You asked it." Oh yeah, Jeremiah Fix. No, they do care. They hate it. They care immensely, Jeremiah Fix. They care a great deal. They care so much about the fact that I'm right that they'll do everything in their power to avoid admitting it. The truth is, Jeremiah Fix, no one cares if you're wrong. No one cares at all. People only get upset when you're right. When you're exclusively right. Because then, not everybody can have their own opinion and it all be the same. Yeah. People care so much more about correctness than you could possibly dream, Jeremiah Fix. They just don't care about correctness, right? They care maintaining a status quo where everyone's equally wrong. They care passionately, desperately, deeply about that. Because they mistakenly believe that correctness has something to do with the person's ego rather than entirely to do with their words. You know, what everybody cares desperately about is that they get to have equal claim to epistemological validity as everybody else. That's what people care desperately about. Understandably, I mean, I know my way, you know your way. I decide my way, you decide your way. Who's to say one's more valid than the other? Well, contextually, absolutely one's more valid than the other. The problem is people uniformly, including me, want to apply their preferred attentional metrics to everything, right? The difference between others and me is I differentiate between where I can correctly apply my approach and where my approach is ill suited. Am I always going to therefore use a better suited approach? No, I'm not going to use a better suited approach. In that regard, I'm just like everybody else. The only difference is I can recognize when my approach isn't contextually appropriate and therefore not put so much weight on it, right? Very few, very, very few Jeremiah fix, even those who are intentionally empowered to do so, aren't habitually empowered to do so. Like, look at Jack from Socionics. If he were objective about things, he would have learned from our so called debate rather than just spend the entire time running away from me in terror. Oh, I mean, by and large, neighbor, I am the very king of that. If there's one thing you can see me not doing, it's caring about whether I'm convincing anybody. I'm the absolute king of that. But even the absolute king of that sometimes gets mad at people doing the following specific thing: telling me I'm wrong because I say I'm right, rather than for any other reason. So, I'm narrowing the field of my critique adequately here, Niebuhr, that I'm not subject to that critique. I wish I were less the king of that. I wish I were more worried about winning hearts and minds and less about doing God's work. The thing is, who knows what wins hearts and minds, All I can do is be correct. That's all I can really do in life. I'm not especially capable of anything else. So, that's what I got. My TE is iffy and scary. My NI, unreliable. My FI, a complete yeah. No, influencing is not bad, It's just beyond me. It's not what I do, right? Recognizing one's limitations is worthwhile. Somebody else can do that. And for them, they're probably doing God's work. But God didn't give me a hammer so I could screw things. I don't want to be correct, neighbor. I just am. It's who I am, right? It's who I've become over the years. It's who I always was. In some sense, I was always striving to be correct. I just previously lacked the cognitive function explanation that brought everything together. You don't want to ask that question, neighbor. You just did. That's all. In other words, we can't conclude about a person's behavior that it was indicative of what they wanted to do, right? It's much more indicative of who they are. Well, that you don't care about my being correct makes you exactly the same as everybody else. It's because you're not me, neighbor. I mean, I literally can't not parse shit once I have the data. You know? I'll tell you what. You want to make me mad? Accuse me of being wrong because of subjectivity. It doesn't happen. I'm wrong sometimes, but it's not because of subjectivity. So yeah, being correct just happens. If who you are is thinking about shit all the time, parsing it out, trying to figure out what's correct, then yeah, being correct just happens. It's who I am intentionally. It's also, perhaps more importantly, who I am experientially. You know, I was a professional debate coach for many years and among the very best. I'm not a relativist, so I'm thereby inevitably moving inexorably towards correctness. About things that you can be correct about, of course. There are plenty of things you can't be correct or incorrect about, you know. Things I don't talk about. Things like how much I feel emotions towards this or that person. Or like white chocolate cake is just the best. Well, Jeremiah Fix. That's almost a correct statement if you were to have said to your parameters instead of its. So there you go. Says whom? Should be. Where are you pulling this shit from? Why should I be motivated to help other people? What difference does it make to you whether my motivation is to help people, to show off, to get attention, to just be myself publicly or whatever else the motivation is. Who fucking cares? It doesn't make any difference. You might say that I'm using TI non-optimally in its conjunction with FE to the extent that I'm not making things FE palatable. But what you're really just saying then is I should prioritize FE over TI. And I disagree. Why should your verses not be a moot point for an object that does not have sentience? I don't even understand that question. So it makes it hard for me to answer it. Anyway, my point is what I felt mad about this morning. We're getting off topic. What I felt mad about is people telling me I'm wrong because I say I'm right. It's a very specific thing. A very reasonable thing to be mad about. What? I mean, getting mad at me for telling you my name is Eric because my name is Eric. It's just, it makes no sense at all. No, I'm speaking about statements. Statements that are correctly contextualized among universals. So, in other words, statements, communications about universals are appropriately communicative. One can be right or wrong about them. Statements about particulars, not so much. You know, they can be wrong. That's fine. I'm well aware they are. You know, it's not only can they be, they are. They can believe whatever they want. I was talking about a specific thing that makes me mad. When people say I'm wrong because I say I'm right. And it's okay that that makes me mad. Appropriate, even. No, birds have never told me I'm wrong. But my true love was wrong when she gave me birds on 6 out of the first 7 days of Christmas. Again, arrogance is, I get it, like annoying, but not really related to the topic, I guess. You know, it's like if someone's correct and they say, actually, this is correct, what I'm saying here, and here's why, and it's fully defended, and there's no rebuttal to it, etc., then don't we all have some kind of responsibility to be grown-ups? A little bit, you know? If we're talking about universals, let's say we're talking about public policy, I mean, we have responsibilities to all be grown-ups about it, right? Because it matters to all of us. You know, We don't have the. It's not a good place to be childish. I mean, I'm the biggest baby of all. But I'm not a baby about stuff where you have to be a grown up, like politics. It's just a matter of being a baby where it's appropriate and being a grown up where it's appropriate, right? It's not a matter of I'm more grown up than other people. Look at me. Look at me. Look at this man. This is not a grown up in any stretch of the imagination. But I'm not so recklessly irresponsible as to be childish about politics. I mean, it's like I'm not going to be a baby when it comes to gun safety, right? There are some things about which obviously we have to be grown-ups. Anyway, I didn't wake up mad with the intent of making you all mad at me too. Because I'm mad at some other people who are mad at me for being right and saying I'm right. Specifically, not for being right, just for saying it. For being like, hey, but correctness matters, and you don't seem to be caring about it. Well, what are you going to do, Art? Sometimes you wake up mad. Sometimes you wake up happy, and sometimes you wake up mad. Sometimes you wake up sad. Mad is better. Mad is better than sad. Okay? Mad is progress. Mad is progress on the road between sad and happy. Mad's just a rest stop between sad and happy. Well, yeah, I'm filled with anxiety right now, too. That's probably displacing into some anger. I'm filled with anxiety because we made a bid on this property and Jack's just an example I mentioned to make a specific point about how attentional manner is insufficient. It's like that warrant served that claim. Not, it doesn't represent some generalized caring about Jack. It was an example I needed to prove a point. So, I don't know. Things like that. Um, Filling in the missing information on human beings is not my forte. I concede the point, Jeremiah Fix. I concede the point. You are correct about that. Because, human beings, by and large, are a bunch of human schmeens. I don't know how to deal with them. I'm filled with anxiety about permitting processes. I discovered yesterday talking to the other realtor that one of the buildings on the property is not currently considered a building by the county. So obviously, I don't know why it's not, whether I'm going to be able to get it to be or whatever. So we're going to go into town and talk to the county today about this. I've got a lot of anxiety about permitting and zoning things. Granted, we have escrow still to pull out of this deal if we want to. And if in fact I find out that it's impossible to permit that other building because it's too few square feet, it doesn't have a meow or whatever, it doesn't have laundry, but it has everything else. It has a bathroom, it has a little cooking area. Well, then we might have to rescind the offer. I don't know if that's going to cost us a deposit or what. Because I went into this deal believing I was getting two rental properties on one property, two rentals on one property. So it made it make economic sense for me. If in fact I'm only getting one rental on the property and to get a second rental, I have to build another building, well, then that's not what I got into this deal for. So am I displacing some of my anxiety into anger? Maybe. Maybe I am. We'll just have to talk to the county and see what they say. Yeah, well, I mean, maybe this lady had an inspector out. Well, we're in escrow. You know, we can pull out of escrow if we want to. And if in fact I discover that an inspector's already been out there and informed her that it can't be permitted for meow meow reason, then we're not going to lose any deposit for sure because I'm calling bullshit on that, you know. Well, cat down the road, that would be one of the wonderful things about this place is it's got two little one bedroom, adorable little one bedroom houses. One of them's a studio, one of them's a one bedroom house. And, you know, if you came to visit us, wouldn't you rather stay in your own little place 10 minutes nearby than stay with us at our house? I think almost everybody would rather do that. So, obviously we were enjoying the prospect of having these things available to let people stay at if they want, our friends or whatever, you know. And in that regard, we were stoked about it. But you know, I've got to find out what the situation, what the sitch, what the sitch is on the permitting. There's two little tiny houses on 5 acres. It's not a lot of land really, but and a little teeny bit of it is across the street, which is just useless. You know, it's like in that regard, the shape of the land is weird too. It's like Oklahoma. It's got like a panhandle or something. But the thing is, if I get two vacation rentals out of that property, that's why I'm getting it purely as return on investment. If I get two vacation rentals out of it, it's an excellent deal, and I'm gonna get um, a very high rent over cost percentage of over 0.1 would be a conservative estimate. However, if in fact it turns out that I only have one rental, well, that's a whole nother economic story, right? That place, I mean, 45 minutes to the main entrance of Yosemite. Not very far as the crow flies, but it's mountain roads, so it takes a little while to get there. Um, 20 minutes to town. What do I think of roasted bald eagle for Christmas dinner? That sounds like a deliciously illegal Christmas dinner. You are not allowed to shoot bald eagles. I'm pretty sure that'll get you in big trouble. Take it from somebody who allegedly once shot at some geese he allegedly wasn't supposed to shoot at. Keeping in mind that I allegedly shot at them with a handgun, which is not really ideal for shooting birds, I don't think. But what do I know? I'm not a gun guy. I'm more of a hat guy. Let's see what this is. Trio da da da. I'll have to watch this later. That looks very strange. It looks very, very strange, Acacia. Have a nice day, Kay. So, anyway, if Rachel happens to watch this at some point, as she's my true love, I want her to know that I don't want a lot of birds for Christmas. In fact, I don't want any birds for Christmas. Like, who came up with that list of gifts? Didn't somebody say, like, hey, don't you think we should give them something other than birds now? Or is that what happened with the 5 golden rings? And then they just went right back to birds, you know? 6 out of this first 7 days, you get birds. I never realized that until yesterday. I was thinking about that song. I was like, sure seems like there are a lot of birds. And then I looked it up. And sure enough, 6 out of the first 7 days, you get birds. Maybe your true love is a bird catcher by profession. And they're really just giving you the leftover birds that you couldn't get rid of. Would I rather have maids of milking or drummer drumming? I'd definitely rather have maids of milking. Number one, it's quieter. Number two, you end up with milk. Now, I'm assuming those maids are milking either cows or goats, and they aren't wet nurses. If they're wet nurses, well, then you're going to have screaming babies. I think I'd rather have drummers drumming. What do the ladies do? Dance? The lords leap, right? The lords are leaping. I think the ladies are dancing. Pipers are piping. Well, it depends. Are the pipers playing the pipe, or are they simply piping hot? If they're piping hot as per Pepe's piping hot piñatas, then maybe I'd rather have the pipers. I also need to know ahead of time whether they're rowdy Roddy pipers. If they're rowdy Roddy pipers, then I don't want them. Obviously, because they'd be too rowdy. Lord's queefing. I'm pretty sure that's not what it says. Okay, shit. So anyway, I think on the 4th day of Christmas you should get piping hot piñatas. From Pepe's piping hot piñatas. Well, maybe those were the original lyrics, Keisha, but it's only because in Old English, queefing meant bequeathing. Well, that's nice of them. Oh. So, yeah, I got to go talk to the county. I got to talk to the county. And I got to figure shit out. I don't want to end up spending the money that we're spending on this on a property with one rental on it. That won't do. No, sirree, Bob. That won't do. So we will find out when we go to town later. I've got typing at 10 a.m. this morning. I'm not exactly looking forward to it per se, but it'll be fine. I also need to take the trash out to the street this morning. I guess that's just something we're going to have to do together. If I try to do it by myself, it'll never get done. Blech. I feel all full of bleh. Lucy was a tough one. I wasn't sure what to make of her at first. But, because, at the gate, and to a certain extent throughout, she seemed quite SE. Well, ENFJ is possible. I didn't do enough TE testing really to be definitive about it. She's one of the two, ENFJ or INFJ. She's got to be because she's NI, not SI, for sure. And I don't know. She's not TI polar. So she's not TE high up. It's not like she's INTJ or ENTJ. She's not an FI Dom. If she were FI Tool, she'd be TI polar. So what are you left with, But I knew that'd be a controversial typing. I agree she doesn't play as INFJ. She doesn't read as that. But I trust my test more than my intuition. Yeah, he's a plaintive meower. Do you want me to watch you eat again? I've already watched you eat one time. Like 1.5 times even. I have to take the trash out. I have to take the trash out because we're having guests this week. Acacia? Everything's still a go, right? You guys are still coming? Since we're having guests this week, we need to have empty trash cans going into the week. We can't have partially filled trash cans. That would be a disaster beyond all reckoning. There's one little trash can emptied. But we've got more little trash cans to empty than that. Good, good. Well, this is step one of the process of getting ready for you guys to come. Yeah, I read BB a long time ago. When I was learning about cognitive functions. But you know, what I remember thinking about it was it's cool, there's some good ideas here. You know, I took various ideas from everything that I read. I don't remember exactly what from what, you know. But I read all kinds of stuff back then. You know, I'm a pretty good researcher, even though nobody ever sees it, because obviously researching is something you don't do publicly. It's far too boring to watch. But I'm pretty good at researching things. Here's another trash bag I forgot. Don't forget about this trash bag. Got lots of trash this here and it's gotta go outside. Get this trash bag dear and tied. Taking out the trash. Ho-hum. What could be more ho-hum than taking out the trash? Ho-hum the musical. What do you think about a musical called Ho-hum the Musical? It's all about doing chores. And all the songs are super boring. Like the main song of it just goes, ho-hum, ho-hum, doing chores, ho-hum. And there's only like 2 or 3 songs in the whole musical. Mostly it's just that song the whole time. Who wants to go with me to see Ho-hum the Musical? That's basically what you're watching right now. I gotta put the trash trash can. I gotta put this back into the trash can. Ho hum the musical. You can go see a double feature of Ho Hum the Musical and Menopause the Musical. Everyone wants to bust my chops about Lucy, huh? She might be an ENFJ. I don't know. What do I look like? A typologist or something? I occasionally get somebody wrong. She could be an ENFJ. Hard for me to tell. I'm a little rusty, maybe. It's been a while since I typed somebody. I don't know. Well, here's the deal. She wasn't an ESFP. She wasn't TI polar. She wasn't an ISFP because she wasn't she wasn't NE polar. And she wasn't an INTJ or an ENTJ because her TE was way too shitty. So, but she was definitely NI and not SI. So, I don't know, man. I went with my test, not my gut. If I didn't test my test rigorously enough, and or if she had like studied my TI questions a bunch, it could interfere with that. But that was my reasoning, okay? So that's why I typed her the way I typed her. Regardless of what my intuition about her type may have said, I trusted my tests. I know you want me to watch you eat, but let me at least go get a plastic bag. I'll be right back. I concede that the TI questions can, in fact, to some extent, be gained by somebody who's seen a lot of my typing sessions. And she said she'd seen a lot of them. If, in fact, her experience with seeing me ask a bunch of TI questions counterfeited the accuracy of the TI polar test, and I concede that's possible, then it's conceivable you can make the case for ESFP. Does that adequately address your concerns, Kay? I think it should. Because any polar is a lot more striking than that. Any polar is pretty remarkably polar. If you've watched any actual ISFPs or ISTPs, if you watch a conversation I've had with any of them, it's like a rock, right? They say one answer, you push it over again with another question. They say one answer. She was not any polar. But if you want to argue that she was any polar, I mean, in that case, I just say you have a much better case for the argument I made. Yeah, well, I guess her quickness with the genealogy questions made me go not TI polar. Okay, well, I think I explained how I made the assessment pretty clearly. Is regarding the NE polar test. Um, I'll concede that I more or less used my intuition on that one. Like I've typed enough NE polar people. It's like the most obvious polar to me. She was pretty clearly not NE polar. I I think that there's, but I don't blame you for pointing out that I failed to justify that adequately. I don't. The thing about the NE polar test is, I find it to be very definitive, but it's also difficult to because it's about quantity and quality of divergence. It's difficult to TE out for a third party to evaluate. I'd have to spend time being like, okay, in other words, I have to go over the data and be like, all right, it quantifies to this many examples in this long a period of time, things like that, which I have not done. So, you know, but uh, the point is, to the extent that I'm wrong, I would expect it to be that she's ESFP, who's had sufficient experience with the TI test to successfully test negative for TI polar despite being TI polar. I think that would be a more likely explanation. Well, I like to be precise in articulating what I feel confident about under what circumstances, what I don't, and to what extent I can successfully articulate the specifics of the test so that they're repeatable versus things that require my intuition. But any polar is actually pretty repeatable if you give people a few examples to look at anyway. In your eyes. That's fine. You can change my name, okay? I change it periodically too. I'm transnamal. Oh, I have a mixture of emotions from yeah to yeah to yeah, yeah. I feel a lot. Okay, everybody, can we stop hammering on me about this? I've explained it in full already what my reasoning was. I may have been wrong, but that was my reasoning. If you would like to revisit the question, rewind this video and hear me explain it already. Everybody wants to tell me when I get somebody wrong. Well, maybe I did get this lady wrong. Okay? Maybe I was a little rusty. maybe you should all just run right up and kick me in the balls. I got another lady I got to type this morning, so I'll try to do a better job. Hopefully she'll test the type she is rather than some other type. KE stalked your living room, Lou. God damn it. I have to take the trash cans out to the street. Well, there's just no getting around it, I guess. I just have to do it. The thing is, we don't really have that much trash. But we still have more trash than zero trash. I wish we could just have zero trash, but we don't. Well, okay. Now we've got to take the trash out to the street. Which means I have to bring the trash cans over here. Well, I guess that'll do. I don't know if there's any trash in any of the other trash cans or not. I guess I should look. I so prefer to be lazy. Well, they're empty, but while I was there, I realized something horrible. There are two, like, big pieces of trash things that I need to break down and throw away. Anyway, all right, so let's talk about emotions. Let's talk about our feelings for a second. So last night, I slept mad. I had angry dreams. I woke up mad. But I also have anxiety regarding this permitting stuff. And now I'm starting to feel sad again. Which means probably I should go back to bed. I have to type somebody in like 4 hours, less than that. So, thank you all for helping me take out the trash. I appreciate it. And I think I'm going to go lie down. After all that hard work, I've earned it. When you have emotions, there's nothing else to do for it but just go lie down. You know? Sometimes. Because emotions are hard like diamonds. They cut even the clearest glass. So, with that disheartening thought in mind, I wish you all the best, and I'll see you again later.